This photo made millions of people stop, Claude. It won the highest award in journalism, Claude, and it destroyed the man who took it. Because behind this image was something much darker than tragedy. A system where human suffering becomes headlines, and headlines become attention, and attention becomes power. In March 1993, a South African photographer captured a single frame that would haunt the world forever. A starving child collapsed in the dirt, and just a few feet away, a vulture waits. Not attacking,
I can't believe
not
they
helping,
did it. Look at this.
just waiting.
Oh my God!
It's one of
It
the
can't
most
be
disturbing
true.
images ever taken.
It's a tragedy.
But as the world looked at the photo, they didn't just see the child. They asked a question that would follow the photographer for the rest of his life. What happened to the child? And why didn't you help? This is Nick Zora, and today we're exploring the tragic, controversial story of Kevin Carter, the man who captured the world but couldn't escape it. To understand that moment, you have to go back. Kevin Carter grew up in South Africa during apartheid, a system built on division, violence, and control. This wasn't just politics, it was everyday life. Whites-only signs, public humiliation, brutality normalized. But Carter wasn't like the system around him. While serving in the Air Force, he witnessed white soldiers beating a black waiter. He tried to stop them. For that, he was beaten by his own people. That moment changed something inside him. But the real turning point came in 1983, a bombing in Pretoria. 19 people were killed, bodies scattered across the street. The smell of smoke, blood, chaos. Carter saw it all. And in that moment, he made a decision. Not to fight with weapons, but to show the world the truth. He picked up a camera. He later joined a group of photographers known as the Bang Bang Club. These weren't ordinary journalists. They ran toward danger while everyone else ran away. They documented executions, mob violence, human cruelty at its worst. Day after day, they witnessed things most people could never imagine. But even that wasn't the darkest part of Carter's journey. Because in 1993, he was sent somewhere far worse, Sudan. At the time, Sudan was facing a devastating famine. People weren't just hungry, they were dying, silently. Entire villages collapsing under starvation. The United Nations launched a mission, but they needed something powerful. They needed images. Images that would shock the world and force people to care. Because in media, attention drives action, and action drives money. So they sent photographers, including Kevin Carter. When Carter arrived, he stepped into something almost unreal. The air smelled of death. People were dying at a rate of nearly 20 every hour. Children, too weak to stand. Mothers, too exhausted to cry. It was beyond suffering. It was silence. Then one day, near a feeding center, Carter saw something that stopped him completely. A small child, collapsed in the dirt, too weak to move, barely breathing. And then, a vulture landed nearby, not attacking, just waiting. Now imagine that moment. You're standing there, camera in your hands. You've been told, don't touch the victims. Disease is everywhere. Just document. So Carter did what he was trained to do. He waited. Minutes passed. He adjusted his lens, hoping the bird would spread its wings, hoping to capture something that would force the world to look. Finally, he took the shot. Then he chased the vulture away. He watched the child slowly crawl toward the feeding center, and then he walked away. He later sat under a tree, lit a cigarette, and broke down. Because in that moment, he knew he had captured something powerful. But he also knew it came at a cost. When the photo was published in the New York Times in March 1993, the world reacted instantly. The image spread everywhere. It shocked millions. It raised awareness. It brought attention to a crisis most people had ignored. But then, the questions began. People didn't just see the suffering, they saw the photographer, and they asked, why didn't he help? Letters flooded in. Anger grew. Some called him heartless. Others called him something worse. One paper described him as a second vulture. But at the same time, the industry celebrated him. In 1994, Kevin Carter won the Pulitzer Prize, the highest honor in journalism. Recognition, fame, success, everything he had worked for. But something was already breaking inside him. Because behind the success, there were memories, violence, death, starvation, images he couldn't erase. And then, it got worse. His close friend and fellow photographer Ken Oosterbrook was killed, and Carter blamed himself. He was depressed, struggling financially, haunted by everything he had seen, and no amount of recognition could fix it. On July 27, 1994, just months after winning the Pulitzer Prize, Kevin Carter ended his life. He was 33 years old. In his final note, he wrote, "I am haunted by vivid memories of killings, corpses, and starving children." He couldn't escape the lens. But here's something most people didn't know. For years, the world believed that child in the photo had died. But decades later, researchers found the truth. The child was actually a boy. His name was Kong Nyong, and he survived that day. So now the question becomes, who was the real vulture? Was it the photographer doing his job? Was it the media turning suffering into headlines? Or is it something else? Because today, we live in a world where tragedy travels instantly. We scroll past suffering. We react for a moment and then move on. And behind every image, there is always someone capturing it and someone consuming it. Kevin Carter didn't just take a photograph. He exposed something deeper, a system where pain becomes content, content becomes attention, and attention becomes power. And that system still exists today. The only question is, are we learning from it, or are we still feeding it? This is Nixora, where we uncover the dark side of money, media, and power.